Hello and welcome to the Shaman's View. I'm Alberto Villoldo and I'm a shaman, a doctor shaman. I've trained for many years in the Amazon, and one of the most magnificent creatures in the Amazon is a hummingbird. The hummingbird goes on the impossible journey. Do you know that hummingbirds migrate from Brazil all the way to Canada? And they don't say, well, we don't have enough wings, or there are no flowers to suck on until we get to Cuba, or what are we going to do? They go. They respond to the calling and they go. And then they come back, they fly back. And then they go on the following year once again. Today we're challenged to go on the epic journey, even when we don't have enough time or enough money or enough wings, or the children aren't grown, or the schools haven't opened yet, or we need to go on an epic journey as a humanity, because we're not going back. We're not going back to the way things were. The shamans of old prophesied this time that we're living in, and they called it as the time of the Pachacuti, of the great turning over of the world, and how we would have to become a new humanity, not a slightly more improved version of the humanity we've been, because we've been literally a disaster for the last 2,000 years, but a completely new humanity, which meant the death of the old paradigms, the death of the paradigm of greed, of accumulation of wealth at the expense of others, of exploitations of other people, of social injustice, the end of discrimination and prejudice and racism and bigotry against women. We cannot improve. We can improve a lot, but we cannot just have a slightly more improved version of who we have been as humans walking on this earth, because we're destroying it. So the shaman spoke about the need for an epic journey, the hummingbird journey. And the hummingbird drinks only from the nectar. It goes straight for the nectar of flowers. It doesn't hover over the garbage. It goes straight for the nectar. And the hummingbird is the direction of the wisdom teachings, for the shamans. It's a time now for the ancient medicine. It's because this is what's going to get us through. And it's not simply surviving this crisis, it's really dealing with the fact that we are making such an impact on the environment, that climate change is out of control, that we're seeing climate collapsing in different parts of the world. We're calling this now the Pyrocene, the age of fire. And this is in the very poetic language of the ancients. They speak about the purification by fire that we're living through at this time. This is a time for a new humanity, but how do we go about doing that? How do we become that new human? This is where the hummingbird medicine can teach us and guide us through. But how do we connect with that medicine? I want to share with you today one of the shaman's power practices, which is the summoning of power. Not just the talking about power or the describing the symbol of the hummingbird, but how do we call on this energy, which is the energy of the hero that goes on the epic journey. The hummingbird is this little creature that's not even designed for flight, but it goes on this extraordinary journey, the impossible journey that each one of us is being called to go on today. I want to share with you the shaman's art of summoning the power of each of the directions. I remember a few years ago, we were with the medicine women and medicine men in the holy mountain in the Andes. And one of our students asked one of the shamans, during this time of the Pachacuti that is in the prophecies, where will it be safe? Where can we go? Where is it safe? And they looked at each other and they said, nowhere, there's nowhere that will be safe. But you can become a safe person. You can become a safe person and create a bubble of safety around you that will take you through this great change. And this bubble of safety is a place where you can turn up the heat of the fire to go through the great personal transformation that we're going through as a people. Because we cannot escape it. There's nowhere that we can hide from the tremendous initiatory process that humanity is going through right now. I remember right before the dawn of World War II, there's a story of an English family that saw the devastation that was coming to Europe, that saw Hitler and the fact that here was this great dark force that had been unleashed in the continent. And they sat together in the kitchen table with a map of the world. And they were looking for where they could take their 3 children that would be safe. And they found a little island in the Pacific that nothing had ever happened in. Nothing for 500 years. Beautiful tropical island in the Pacific. And they uprooted the family, bought a little beach house, and moved in there until the war would pass through Europe and they could return. Well, this island was called Guadalcanal, the place of the fiercest battles in the Second World War. There's nowhere that is safe, but you can become a safe person by leaning into the crisis, by saying, yes, transfigure me, transform me, turn me into that new human that we've been waiting for. Let it be me, let it be us. Let's not go back to the old normal. It's not going to be possible. To do that, we need to summon a power that is greater than we are. And the shamans do it by calling on the archetypes, by calling on the powers of nature. Now, in the West, we frequently speak about the forces of nature. Forces are the language of science. They're not animate. The shaman speaks about the powers. The powers are animate. You call on Hummingbird, and the Hummingbird energy comes to bring you to your hero's journey, to inspire you, to give you the courage and the strength to embark on this journey that everybody else thinks is impossible. In the same way, we can call on Serpent, on the power of Serpent to come and heal us, and the power of Jaguar to take us through the dark night of the soul and to show us our own darkness, our own shadow, so we can bring it to the light. But today we're going to call on Hummingbird, which is where we need to begin, to summon the courage, to summon the wisdom of the ancients, and to call on our children's children, on the shaman of the future, to be here with us today. Traditionally, we begin in the south direction, calling on each one of these powers to come, beginning with the serpent and the jaguar, and then the hummingbird, and then the eagle, and then Mother Earth and Father Sky. So join me, and then I invite you to do this in the morning. Call on these powers, because this is the contract that the shaman makes with spirit. And we are all shamans in awakening, each and every one of us. Remember that the shaman is the one who dances between the visible and the invisible world, like we have to do today. The shaman helps that which is being born to be born, people, ideas, destiny, and helps those things that need to die, including people, to return back to the world of spirit. So beginning by turning to the south, to the direction of the south, calling on the serpent, the mother of the waters. To the winds of the south, great serpent, we call on you. Come and wrap your coils of light around us. You who were the first one to bring us that fruit of the tree of knowledge, we call on you. Teach us your ways to have our belly, on the belly of our mother, the earth. Teach us to shed the past, the way you shed your skin. Bring us that deep healing that we so need today. Show us your way. So awaken that serpent within us, the serpent of light. Aho. To the winds of the west, Mother, Sister, Jaguar, we call on you, Mother. Come and bring us your lessons of courage, the lessons of fearlessness in these times of great fear. Teach us to walk with beauty in the dark and hidden places that no one dares to look at, and to expose them for what they really are. To bring the love and the courage that we need to into our lives today. Teach us that journey beyond death. Aho. And to the north. To the winds of the north. Grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, we summon you. We call you. Sit around our sacred fire. Guide us in our journey today. And we call on our children's children, the ones that are still to be born. Come and sit in council with us that we may create a world that you can be born into. Hummingbird, we summon you. Bring us your courage. Bring us your calling to the nectar, to the essence of life. Teach us about that epic journey that we're invited to go on today. Without having enough wings, without being designed for flight, that we may say yes to this great calling from destiny. Be with us. Teach us that beak that drinks deeply from the flowers only. Teach us how to use that wisely. Teach us the ways of stillness, stillness even in flight. Aho. And to the east, the place of the rising sun. To the winds of the east. Eagle, condor, we call on you, Mother. Fly high above us. Open our eyes so we may see the reality of the journey that we're on. Open our eyes so we may see the totality of the earth below us, of the curvature of the earth, of this great and epic event that we're living through. Teach us to spread our own wings that we may take flight, that we may fly always wing to wing with the Great Spirit. Come, be with us, protect our medicine space, protect our loved ones, protect all of the beings and all of the living creatures around us. Aho. And to the earth, Mother Earth. Pachamama, great Mother, thank you, Mother, for all of the beauty that you bring to us, for holding us so sweetly. You who bring us our health and our power and our energy and our beauty, strengthen us, strengthen our immune system, strengthen our courage, strengthen our energy field, that we may become agents of transformation, that we may go through that rebirth that you invite all of your creatures to go through, and that we may do so elegantly and with courage and not kicking and screaming like we're most familiar with. Teach us your ways of stewardship of the earth, that we may become earth keepers. Aho. And Father Sky, Inti Taita, Father Sun, to all the sacred mountains of this earth, Yapanapukuna, and all of the luminous ones that are part of our lineage of the earth keepers, the planetary guardians, we call on you. Help us to go through this challenging time for humanity and for the entire planet, that we may become stewards. We call on you, Great Spirit, thank you. You who sit above us and below us in the north, the south, and the east, and in the west. Thank you for bringing us together, that we may sing the song of life another day, that we may be of service in this time of the great transformation, the time that we've been announcing for so long, and that is here today. Aho. I invite you to do this at home. This is the summoning of power. This is not only a creating sacred space like we teach our students, but we're actually summoning the powers of spirit, that there are four of, to come and be with us, and that were personified by the shamans of old as serpent, as the Ouroboros or the Kundalini of the East, as jaguar, as the jaguar medicine that teaches the ways beyond death and that allows us to track for a beautiful destiny, as hummingbird, the hummingbird medicine of deep courage, of embarking on the hero's journey. On the hero's journey that will take us to become that new species that we have been announcing for so long, to become that new human, that extraordinary human. The prophecies of the Mayan say that humans will appear on the earth for the first time on December 21st, 2012. We're only 8 years old as a humanity. We're brand new. We have to step up to that. And in doing so, we will grow a new body that ages differently and that heals differently and that dies differently and that maybe doesn't die. And that doesn't need to learn by getting sick, that can download the codes to make ourselves disease-proof, that can get us to have our health span equal our lifespan. I invite you to test this ancient prayer of the shamans, of calling on the powers of the four directions. The physicists discovered also that there are four powers, four fundamental laws of physics or powers of physics. And they call these the gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and the weak nuclear force. These were the forces. Shamans called them powers. They gave them faces so that they could summon them. Biologists also discovered that there were four fundamental letters in the alphabet of life. They were the four-part code of DNA, the A, C, G, T. These are the four codes that all of the poetry of life is composed with. This alphabet only has four letters. The shamans recognized that too. And they called them serpent, jaguar, hummingbird, eagle. And they called them by different names in different places. In Europe, there are no hummingbirds. So you have the owl or the hawk. And the practice is one of saying yes to the calling and embarking on the great journey. This is our opportunity. This is what we came here to do. Let's embark on this journey together that we might dream a world into being that our children's children can be proud of. Thank you for joining me today in the Shaman's View. Do this practice. See what happens when you call and see who shows up. Aho. Hello and welcome to the Shaman's View, the view from the invisible world. Am I live? I think so. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Shaman's View, the view from the invisible world. I'm Alberto Villoldo. I'm a medical anthropologist and I'm a shaman. And the shaman is one who dances on top of the equal sign of Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared.